Hi, everybody. Welcome to Seeing Scarlet. It is Sibby here, and I'm always joined with Shelby. Shelby, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
She's great. I'm doing great. We got some
Yeah.
good news, some fun news.
Money, money, money.
Money. Yeah. Bling, bling. Well, not bling, bling. Sorry,
Well,
that's
it's
not. That's the
associated to bling
wrong.
bling. It helps us get bling blings.
The more bling bling yeah, in the future, but like kind of similar themes. Really cool thing that we've been learning about, and still a lot to learn about. A lot of different components of this, Shelby. So I'll
That's a
give
lot.
you the rundown. Still a lot of questions to be answered, but overall, just like what Shelby and I were talking about before this, is we are left with some questions, but at the end of the day, we're hoping this continues to put us as the front runner of how we support our athletes financially, and how we can continue to recruit talent to West Texas, to Lubbock, and continue on the track that we've already kind of been trailblazing. You know, like I don't think I've seen any other major level school have some of the support and the things that we're working on here at Texas Tech. So that's really exciting. So we're going to just dive right on into it. There's going to be two different entities that we talk about here in just a minute, and I thought it might be helpful to which is going to be like context for later when you're trying to figure out like, wait, what are they telling me, and like who is who. So we're going to start off with a little bit of background context. Okay,
sure.
Shelby. Okay, great.
Well, to start, in case anyone listening somehow missed the news, what we're talking about is the Red Raider Club and the Matador Club came out with an announcement recently that they're partnering in some way, and they're going to
Partnership.
help each other out.
Yep.
And there is some, like you said, there's some confusion on what that means. And so Sibby did some hard-hitting research to find what she could for everyone, explain it a little
Doing my
better,
best.
and let y'all know how you can support athletes, since this is a sports podcast, moving forward
Totally.
with both of these clubs.
Totally. So with that being said, huge shout out to like texastech.com. That's where I got a lot of this information, and then just some that we've collected. But as Shelby said, they've been calling it a partnership between the Red Raider Club and the Matador Club. And I remember, like, I know with the Red Raider Club, they sent me a letter in the mail the second I graduated asking for money.
God.
Like,
Been calling me since like day of graduation.
you know, they know me. They know me so well. They knew exactly when I graduated. It's really sweet. But they've been around for like almost 70 years, the Red Raider Club. They've been the top dog for like philanthropy efforts with Texas Tech athletics since really day one, in just in any ways supporting the athletes, mostly in like financial donations and how that supports their career here at Texas Tech. And they've been said, like on their website, what they call themselves, or like how they operate, is the philanthropic.
It's a tough word. It
I
gets
love
me
how
every
it
time.
sounds, though. Like, it sounds really nice.
It makes you
when
feel.
it makes me
rolls off
feel
the tongue in
nice,
a
but it
nice
is,
way.
you got to work for it.
Yeah.
The philanthropic arm of Texas Tech Athletics helps us provide support for today, so the student athletes can grow the big ideas of tomorrow. So what does that mean?
What does all that fancy language actually mean?
How do we do that? So looked into it. The money goes towards, like, there's several different pots of money that you can spend your dollar on. So if Shelby's going to donate to the Red Raider Club, she'll go on the website, hit donate, and then Shelby will have an option to pick from a variety of different pots of money that this can go to, which helps with like just financial transparency. So you know your money is either going to go towards like connecting young alumni. So there's students, current students that can be part of the Red Raider Club.
Also, probably like their tailgating events and all that stuff.
Yeah. Supporting and connecting them in that way, which is such a huge tool, like networking, especially at that age when you're about to graduate and find a job and things like that. So like any youngins listening, the Red Raider connection, dude, it is real. It's so good. So you can do that. You can do sports specific booster funds. So if Shelby really wants to give money to women's tennis, you can do that. It goes right into that pot. There's memorial gifts that you can give. And then they also have a campaign going on called the Fearless Champions Football Facility Fund. So if that's something that you're interested in, that's a beyond football, like that was the only other specific one that you can
I'm assuming
donate
that's
to.
for that giant, all that stuff they're building right now.
Giant what? Like all
I'm
of
sure
it is
they got
so
a huge
giant.
donation, but everything costs more than they expect, so I'm sure they're asking for a little bit more.
Yeah, so that's the Red Raider Club. Okay, they've been around for a long time. Been the
Very organized.
yeah,
You feel like you know what you're getting from the Red Raider Club. Outside
yeah,
of their annoying phone calls, they're well ran.
and I mean to be around for that long, it makes sense. Like hopefully
Yeah.
they're well run.
Well, yeah. They at least pretend like they have us convinced that they are. They could. We know how that works. Red
Honestly,
Cross, where you at?
that's how I play golf. You know, I show up looking like a golfer. People are like, "Dang, that girl can golf," and then
14 hours later, you finally finish.
Hey, don't tell people my strategy. Okay, so that's the Red Raider Club. And then now we have the Matador Club, which is a little bit different in a lot of different ways. So they were established in 2022, which
Little
was
babies, Brandon.
not even close to a long time ago.
Nope.
But this, I think, was created to help be, again, like the trailblazers of what NIL
sure.
can look like on Texas Tech's campus. And for those who are like really, new to the NIL world, there's a lot to understand, but I still think, and Shelby, I'm curious how you feel, but with the NIL just in general, it just feels like we're building the plane as we're flying it. Like things are changing.
1000%.
There's so many nuances to it, and we're all still trying to figure it out.
That's how it feels like when you're like trying to figure out where to donate to this. You feel like you're a passenger on that plane, but you have been told not where you're going. You have no idea where the plane's landing, if it's going to land, when it's going to land, and you're just like, well, I love Texas Tech, so I'm going to give money. So that's where it's at now. As you're going to get into more, to continue on with your plane analogy, I completely agree. Hopefully it'll grow into more transparency, like our friends with the Red Raider Club, since they're combining. But it's brand new, so people, that's where we just have to give them the benefit of the doubt on that side of things, because it is a little bit like, what?
Yeah, that's so true. And it was also mentioned that these two entities are going to continue to exist or coexist. So we'll still have the Red Raider Club and the Matador Club.
Not going anywhere.
Yeah. But the Matador Club, like based on their website, they talk about how NIL created like this unprecedented opportunity where your gift can really impact like who we have on campus and like who is going to be playing on our teams. And so by like donating to Matador Club, you're supporting them help with those contracts of NIL with the athletes, because Texas Tech as a entity, as the university, cannot pay these student athletes directly, right? True. Like you can't get a check NCAA. From Texas Tech. Yeah. NCAA rules. So that's where like the Matador Club comes into play in a huge way, because with the money that they're getting, they can use that in return for NIL stuff and to support them. So you may have seen like different athletes. We were just talking about who was a Jazzy that has like an NIL deal with Dave & Buster's, and then she just got another one with Gymshark. Like,
she's
get
working.
That bag, get that bag.
Yeah, that's all outside of the Matador Club. But I think they have programs within it that I've seen that they help the athletes like structure their contracts with, supposedly that I don't know if that's true, but they talk about how they will give help to the athletes if they're talking to Dave & Buster's, for instance. They'll be like, hey, you should ask for this much, or like that kind of feedback, supposedly. I don't know if that's true, but I haven't seen that.
And sometimes with these NIL deals that are also unique in addition to like some of the more like corporate things like Dave & Buster's and Gymshark and stuff like that, but they also have a lot of work to do with nonprofits outside of them. So like volunteer work, you'll see a lot of our athletes, they'll be like, wearing a Matador shirt and they're, volunteering at the food kitchen or whatever the case may be.
That's required, right? Like that's basically what you said, that's what they're getting.
I think it
in
all
return
goes into
for the $25K or whatever they're getting. They are required to show up at certain events.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah, it sounds like it's all part of this big contract. So there are some things that you have to do, but I believe that athletes were being asked to do volunteer work before.
Yeah, we talked with
like,
Kelsey Baker.
They
were doing that stuff anyway, and a lot of them want to. Now they're just also getting a check for it, but they would do it anyway. Nice. So
yeah, so they talk about or that's what they do. Okay, so we have the Red Raider Club, a little bit of difference of the Matador Club. And so far what we have seen from the Matador Club, and you can correct me if I'm wrong too, but we've seen them support football, softball, recently baseball, and women's basketball?
Question mark.
Right, question number one,
we say that
right?
because that is out there in the news. When that was announced, it was announced as Level 13 was doing that about this time last year, in July of last year. A huge deal. It became the first women's basketball team to have their own NIL deal.
Yep.
And then by the end of the year, it was clear the Matador Club was paying out there. So I think Level 13 was combined. They were involved somehow in the Matador Club in the beginning. I think maybe they've parted ways to do their own thing. But that person that was a part of that so we'll give them credit, the first step up. But it sounds like the Matador Club is stepping up.
Yep.
And going to carry it on for the next few years. And if that doesn't happen, I will be the first to tell you. They will be hearing from me. So
they will have a very angry
I don't think
podcast.
they're backing out on that because they paid them. So they have they showed that they had the money, which is great. The reason they didn't, in their words, didn't do that at the beginning of the year is this was new. They didn't have enough money. They were supporting what they say the sports where their money went the furthest, I think is the wording on the website you said. So they're starting with those sports. You can infer from that what you want to. And then as the pot grew, they're going to spread it to all the others. Exactly. So they paid for women's basketball. That means the pot's grown to where it is. And to me, that means they won't stop. And it sounds like baseball is getting part of that. And softball hopefully will continue to as well.
Definitely.
It's hard for me to see them backtracking. That just wouldn't be right.
For a business school like Texas Tech, we know we got some good business school.
The money's there, clearly the pot's there, unless people just stop putting in their monthly subscriptions. I think we're good there. It's just about growing it outside of the sports that are.
And I think they're on the right track, especially with this, because as y'all can tell, even from just talking to us for right now, is like there's confusion, right? So part of this partnership, and you're right, Shelby, like the Matador Club talks about how they want their dollar to be the most beneficial, like your $1, however it's going to be used is the most efficient. It can be used. And they talked about how this started in 2022, but they talked about how the focus will be on football, men's basketball, and baseball, but other sports are going to be brought into the fold as the company grows. So what I think we're seeing is a step in the right direction of how that's growing. And so the article that I've been reading and referencing to a bunch is that Texas Tech and the Red Raider Club is planning on like being more modern, like modernizing their resources, their existence on the internet, like their way of life as we know it now, just to be more up with the times. And that goes into what the Matador Club is doing, right? With the NIL.
That wording is all about NIL.
I know.
That says so we can compete at the Power 5 level.
Isn't that
and get
nuts?
Athletes with the money that is now available. That's what that means. But
exactly.
in a professional way.
So they're looking into like what the Red Raider Club is going to do. They're going to be getting like a complete makeover of their website, marketing. They're going to get a new logo. So really just like a nice facelift. And we'll talk about a little bit more of like how you can know the difference, because another huge thing is that they were trying to do is to make donors feel less confused about who do they give their money to. Like you even talked about like Level 13. If people don't know about Level 13, like they were kind of like a Matador Club before Matador Club in some way, but now they're more independent.
They were still independent, but they were just an agency that was paying they said like, hey, we're gonna give money to women's basketball because no one's doing it. Hey, we're gonna give money to this. We're gonna help this player. So they were like and they sponsor individual athletes on campus. They still do that. Speaking of women's basketball, I think Bailey Maupin has the Level 13 gear. She does pictures with maybe Shavers as well. I think Bree didn't. So it's a weird. They're still around, but they now don't just do Texas Tech. So I think that's where the shift has come. Is they've kind of backed off a little bit because they've expanded to other colleges, and so. Out of respect, they don't promote it as much. Yeah, which I think just goes to show how wild the NIL world is still. Everybody wants a piece of it, but like at what point does it make sense? Everybody wants to say they're helping, but they also need to get a little something back for it, let's be honest. That's how it works.
So some other things that are unique to the Red Raider Club of like what they're doing, they talk about this program. It's called Strive. Strive for honor evermore. We know. Strive is an academic achievement award system. So there's over like $6,000 to support tech athletes with scholarships based off of this academic achievement award. So I'm assuming like what that means. It's pretty black and white, right? Like incentive to do well in class. So that'll be really cool. And then Red Raider Club is now going to help promote and assist the Matador Club in fundraising efforts, things like that. And they're looking again to streamline the fan and donor experiences while keeping Texas Tech at the forefront of the competitive new NIL space. So looks like two powers combining into one, and also acknowledging that there's really new world that is so impactful to collegiate athletics of NIL. Like, it's, I think, in my opinion, showing somebody that's been around forever saying, you know what, like, we understand that this is new and we have to be invested in it, or we're going to be last, or we're going to be left in the dirt. So, again, they'll be totally separate entities for the foreseeable future. That might change. I don't know. I think
they have to be because of the NCAA. If the NCAA
Mm-hmm.
gets rid of the school can't be the one doing NIL, which I don't think they will because that would be crazy, they would just become one. But I think that is why I think they're being as transparent as they can be. So it's frustrating a bit when you're like, okay, but I'm still confused on where I should donate, because they're like, that we did this so donors won't be confused on which they should support, but we want you to support both. So they're still asking you to donate to each of them separately.
Yes.
Which says they're separate things, but I think they're just coming together so that they're basically saying we're not competitors. Hey guys, we're on the same team here. We just help in different ways. The Red Raider Club does pretty much everything, supporting the athletic programs in every way, as well as alumni and all that.
Yep.
They can't do NIL because of the rules, but they're going to support the Matador Club in doing that. So it's this whole thing. My hope would be to get the same type of transparency within the Matador Club that they do on the Red Raider Club. I think that's possible. Other schools do that. Why can't I just go on there and pick where I want the money to go? I think that would get a lot more people to donate than they realize, I think. And then, hey, I still can't control that that's where my money's going, but at least pretend like in my heart I can sleep at night knowing that I'm supporting these programs. I'd love to be able to support all of them, don't get me wrong, but I think there's some programs that it seems like, I'm not going to say 100%, but it does seem like volleyball, soccer, tennis, both men's and women's, and then maybe women's golf are the five right now that aren't getting any money from the Matador Club. They weren't included in the video, and then there was some back and forth on Twitter that maybe it was confirmed that the reason they didn't put them in the video is they're not supported, which on some level I actually respect. They're not lying to you. Yeah. Everybody in the video is because they're a part of the Matador Club. So you can infer that they just don't have the funds yet to support these other sports. So we're going to take it upon ourselves to find a way to get them the funds. So maybe we just need to do our part. We can sit around and complain all we want to and say that there's probably enough money there, they should figure it out, which may be true, but what we can do is talk about those teams more. So you're probably going to start hearing a lot more coverage on soccer and volleyball, which you've already heard a soccer story earlier this week from us, and you're going to keep hearing a lot more of that because they deserve it. I mean, both of those teams are soccer's been successful for a while now. Volleyball's really up and coming, and then tennis and stuff had a good year, so I think they'll get there. So I mean, if you do the math, like $5 a month, if 5,000 people donate $5 a month, that's like $25K, right? Yeah, that's a whole women's basketball player's NIL for the year. You know what I mean? So you don't need to be a huge donor. Just go give your $5. Give $5. Give $5 to the Red Raider Club. Give $5 to Matador, and your money's going the places you want it to go. And just trust that and grow it over time if you can. If you really want to help, and if you don't have the money, don't do it. Like, let's just not pressuring you into it, but let's believe. Let's choose to believe it's gonna do good. And if we see red flags, we're gonna be the first to warn you. Trust me, we're not out here to blow smoke. And if we feel like it's backtracking, we'll let you know. But for right now, they stepped up. They covered the women's basketball's funds, which would have been a big black eye if that hadn't happened, in our opinion. And they paid the players, it seems like they say they're going to. And it really is great for Texas Tech from an athletic standpoint. It will help them compete, let's be honest, as much as you may hate NIL or not. It's the world we live in for now, so support it if you can. You can still also do Red Raider Club as well, but we'll let you close it out with anything else you have. But
that seems to be the mission for them too, of contributing to both pots of money. But again, like the Red Raider Club, you can go and select specifically which team you want it to go, where you want it to go. I agree with you, Shelby. Like, I think again, we still have a lot of questions, and
Yeah.
I know for me personally, like the equity standpoint is something that I feel like just being a woman in sports, you have to be so cautious of
Yeah.
everything. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this unravels, but also if we can get some more transparency from the Matador Club, I think you're right. I think that'll help ease a
Yeah,
lot of
and-
people and like help with the decision making of a continuous. Where do I give my money to again? Like,
And
where
just
is
small
it? Yeah.
things. Like just put all the teams on your website. The video was the first time we've ever seen the Matador Club associated with women's sports.
Yep.
If you listen to this Matador Club, I love what you're doing. I support the idea of what's happening here. Have more of that, and you'll get more support overall. Because there are people that are hesitant that I've talked to. I know that there are, but I think overall the reaction to this partnership last week was positive, and that it seems like we're moving in the right direction for all sports on campus. So hopefully that'll continue. It is good. Texas Tech's gotten a lot of good publicity. Recruits seem to be responding to it well.
Totally.
Players do, and all that. So that's positive. It's all great right now. Go donate if you can.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, that's what I have for the latest that we know about the Matador Club and the Red Raider Club. And for those watching right now on YouTube, as you are, make sure you subscribe. Shelby and I are going to try some new stuff coming up. That includes segments like this where maybe it's just news to talk about, but we also have a pretty... I mean, I'm looking at the document right now, Shelby. We have some fun topics that we get to talk about. So,
and those will just keep coming because this is like a news thing that came out. I mean, there's crazy stuff going on in Texas Tech all the time. So listen, if y'all rely on us for Texas Tech sports, we're going to be pumping out, call it daily content, not the weekends, y'all. But the weekdays as much as we can. We'll continue doing that. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Let us know in the comments. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't, all that stuff, whatever. We'll take your feedback, any topics you want us to cover.
That's
We'll
right.
see y'all next time.
Wreck 'em.
Wreck 'em.